Good afternoon and welcome to 3 Minutes to Midnight. My name is Lori Alexander and this is take 2 of trying to get this news story out. I apologize for the last stream. I don't know what happened. I just immediately went off the air as soon as I said I was going to play a video explaining to you the situation happening right now in the country of Turkey. To recap what I said, last Friday there was a military coup attempted in the country of Turkey. And since then, the country has been stable. The coup was a failed attempt. Since that time, President of Turkey has declared a 3-month state of emergency in Turkey. He announced that he's going to do this in the aftermath of last week's bloody coup attempt. What's happening right now, mainstream media here in the United States and pretty much all over is not covering the fact that right now 1,500 US Airmen are being held hostage at an air base in Turkey. President Obama is not addressing this to the nation. US mainstream media is not addressing this. There are a few alternative news media sources that are addressing this. I'm going to play you True News right now. And the reason for this being troublesome, aside from the fact that they are US citizens being held hostage, but it's being reported they only have a week's worth of food left at the base where they're being held. And there's talk of hydrogen bombs being involved in all of this. So this is definitely a situation that is troublesome in itself, but also troublesome the fact that it's not being reported, it's not being told to the world. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play you the True News story on it, and then we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit about what is being said here and the implications of what is happening. So bear with me, guys. I hope I can get this on the air again and we don't get cut out. But if we do, we'll just come back again, won't we? Lately, YouTube's not liking me, but that's okay.
One microphone. Jesus Christ. Here is in. This is Rick Wiles.
There we go.
A national security crisis is currently underway at a joint NATO air base in Turkey. Approximately 1,500 US airmen are being held hostage inside the American sector of the Incirlik Air Base in Adana, Turkey. The Turkish government cut off the electricity to the US portion of the airbase on Saturday morning. True News has reason to believe that the American airmen have less than 1 week remaining in fuel supplies to keep the emergency generators operating. In addition to the 1,500 airmen being held hostage by the Turkish government, there are B-1 strategic bombers and an unknown quantity of what the Pentagon refers to as special weapons, believed to be hydrogen bombs, stored deep underground in vaults. U.S. politicians in both parties and the national news media are covering up what is taking place in Turkey. Is it possible that Turkey would overrun the base? Would Turkey give the US base and its hydrogen bombs to Russia? Would US airmen surrender if they were overrun by Turkish commandos? For some reason, nobody's talking about this story. True News is the only news source that is consistently talking about the crisis at Incirlik. Our correspondent, Edward Zoll, has been on top of the story since last weekend. Edward, what do we know about what is happening at Incirlik?
Yesterday and today, I've actually been in touch with spouses, family members, and even service members at Incirlik Air Base right now in Turkey. And from what I've learned so far, the soldiers are on rations for both food and water. There is limited fuel. And again, we have learned that there's a weak supply right now that's being circulated, a weak supply of fuel that base has. I spoke to family members last night who told me what their sons and their daughters are seeing on the ground, and it's chaos.
What are they telling you?
The dorm rooms, for example, where soldiers are stationed, where they have their things, they've actually kicked out the windows and the doors to provide insulation for, basically to provide alleviation for an overheat.
Because it's in the upper 90s, 100 degrees in Turkey at this time of the year.
Right, upper 90s during the day, upper 80s during the nighttime. There is no break when it comes to this.
And the airmen have kicked out the doors and the windows to get some air?
Yes, to provide better ventilation to the actual dormitory area. The offices where the personnel are running flight operations are the only places right now that have AC allocated to the building, the power allocated for this. I've also learned that the Turkish police have maintained a blockade at the entrance of the base. This has been reaffirmed again by outlets such as Debka File and others who are actually now reporting about this. And they're saying it's upwards of 100 Turkish soldiers, which police better address the soldiers.
That are standing at the gate of the base.
That are standing and are in vicinity of the gate of the base to maintain this blockade.
The Turkish government is holding 1,500 US airmen hostage on a military base that is also holding an unknown number of hydrogen bombs. And nobody's talking about this, Edward. Barack Obama's not talking about it.
No.
I don't think Donald Trump even knows about it. There is no discussion from the House Republicans, the Senate Republicans. Nobody is demanding that Barack Obama do something to rescue 1,500 US airmen.
There was one update today from the Secretary of State, John Kerry. He was harassed by some reporters today at a press conference. And to the crisis in Incirlik, this is what he responded. We have not had our mission interrupted. Our mission continues, and we are told, our ambassador has been told, that the full power should be restored within a day or so to the base through the normal processes. Though he didn't expand on how this was going to happen, nor if Turkey has agreed
Well,
to facilitate
did Secretary of State Kerry tell us why the Turkish government cut off the power?
They haven't touched it. They said they're saying it's a connectivity issue. And it wasn't intentionally turned off.
Of course it was, because we've learned that electricity is running at full capacity at other Turkish air bases and other Turkish military bases.
Right.
This is not that Turkey cut off the power or something happened that military bases lost power throughout the country.
Right.
This was only done on the American side, and from what we've been told, the Turkish side of Incirlik is operating normally with power.
Yes, that is what a source from inside the base told me, actually on Sunday.
Doc, can you imagine what Ronald Reagan would have done if a NATO ally, it's just unimaginable, a NATO ally. I can imagine what Reagan would have done if an enemy.
Well, I think he would have done the same thing. He would have called up Erdogan and said, just letting you know, the planes are in the air. And just, giving them a warning.
Yeah, you've got about 30 minutes to get your troops off that base and turn the power back on. Unbelievable that Barack Obama has allowed this to go on since Saturday morning.
And the media is just towing the line on this, just following right along, not saying anything about it. This is a big deal. Finally, we're seeing some cracks in the media wall yesterday and today. But really, this should be
You know why,
the number one
Doc?
story.
We published our story yesterday. We've been on this story every day since it happened, and we are pushing this story out to the world that our soldiers are locked up inside Incirlik without food, without water, without air conditioning, without electricity. They're being held hostage by a NATO country, an Islamic country, Turkey.
Hmm.
And we have pushed this relentlessly, and now it's forcing some of the establishment news media, such as CNN, to put something out there, even though they're hiding what's really going on. Nobody will come out and say Turkey cut off the power to a US air base that contains hydrogen bombs. The Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan,
No word.
hasn't said beans about it. Mitch McConnell,
Nothing.
nothing. Nobody's saying anything about it. How about the chairman of the House Armed Services Committee? What about the chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee? Why isn't somebody demanding that action be taken to rescue our troops? What I'm concerned about is the possibility of a Benghazi incident.
Right.
And we brought this up yesterday with retired Admiral Ace Lyons, who was the commander of the Pacific Fleet. And again, I have just the utmost respect for that great patriot. He doesn't think that that's possible. And Ace Lyons is somebody who was on the Benghazi Independent Commission.
Well, you heard when we asked Hans Christensen that question yesterday, the nervous laughter he had that right after we asked that question. Is this possible that this could turn into another Benghazi? And he was like, yeah, it really could.
You could have an armed mob, possibly. You could have the Turkish military
Well, on that
invade that base and take over the base. And would U.S. airmen surrender? We don't even know how many troops are armed to defend the base. What do you estimate, Edward?
I estimate between about 50 to 100. That would be a customary amount for that base of that size.
And how would they hold off 1,000 Turkish troops?
They wouldn't be able to hold off anything larger than ground forces, ground soldiers armed with regular semi-automatic rifles. At this point, they probably have crew-served weapons. They probably have small arms, but they don't have the capability to attack, to deter tanks, attack helicopters, artillery.
What is on the other side of the base? I mean, this is a joint shared base. So do we know what kind of hardware Turkey has on their side of the base?
No, the only thing we can look at is the aircraft that has been declared and used in this joint operation to quote unquote fight ISIS in Syria and Iraq.
As I mentioned yesterday, Article 5 of the NATO treaty mandates that all NATO nations go to war if a member of NATO is attacked.
Right.
Well, what article do you invoke if a NATO member attacks another NATO member? Because that's what Turkey has done. Turkey has launched a military attack on the United States of America. This is a military attack. They are holding 1,500 US airmen hostage. That is an attack. And Ronald Reagan would have already called the president of Turkey and given him 30 minutes to get the power on and get his guys off that base. Or Reagan would have sent in the Marines, and there wouldn't be much left of the Turkish capital right now. But nothing is coming out of Barack Hussein Obama.
No.
And I suspect the worst case out of this, last Friday when we were sitting here doing the program, and as we were doing the program, the news broke about the coup. My first reaction was, oh God, let this be the downfall of Erdogan. Because Erdogan is the kingpin in supplying weapons to ISIS. Without Erdogan, it would be very difficult to get everything to ISIS in Syria.
Right.
Saudi Arabia and the CIA are using Erdogan to get everything into Syria because Turkey borders Syria. If he fell, that whole supply chain would end. It's Turkey that's buying the illegal oil that ISIS is pumping in Syria and northern Iraq. Without Turkey and Erdogan, they wouldn't have the money that is flowing into their coffers for this Islamic caliphate. So Friday, my first thought was, oh God, please let this be the end of Erdogan, because this could be the end of the persecution of the Christians in Syria and Iraq.
Right.
But as the night went on, there were a lot of questions about what was really taking place in Turkey. And my worst case fear right now is, well, I would say two fears. Number one, Turkey takes over the base and seizes the hydrogen bombs. Or number two, Turkey gives the base to Russia. And that there's a secret deal that's taking place, because we've been speculating for weeks that suddenly Putin and Erdogan seem to be kissing up, and that maybe Turkey is switching its allegiance from NATO to Russia. Maybe Erdogan's, working both sides to see who's going to give him the best deal.
Right. And today there was an announcement that Erdogan is scheduled to meet with Putin here in just a couple weeks.
What would it mean militarily, geopolitically, if Russia took over Incirlik?
They have solidified their hold on the Middle East. Incirlik is the West arm of power in the Middle East. Without Incirlik, there is no war in ISIS. There is no war in the Middle East.
One of our listeners, Richard Moore, he pointed out to me in an email today something that you had brought up to me, Edward, and I didn't know this, that Incirlik was very important during the Cuban Missile Crisis. Who was on the...
Okay, so let me grab some information here. So as we heard, Erdogan appears to have cut a deal possibly with Russia. And I found something quite interesting on this actual topic. It would seem that hours before the military coup attempted, Turkey was warned by Russia. Russia warned Turkey of the military coup that was going to happen in that country. Kind of makes you wonder or question, how did Russia know? What is Erdogan's capacity in this? What's going on between Turkey and Russia? For those of you who are up on biblical significance for end times, many of us do believe, many of us eschatologists do believe, that Turkey and Russia represent the Gog and Magog of the Bible. So the biblical significance of this event is great. This is a big deal, guys. Where's Obama? Well, it seems that Barry Sobarka seems to be on the golf course this week, not addressing this as usual. Now, you guys can say that, Reagan was an actor and he was just a puppet. They're all puppets. Let's get that straight. But at least Reagan would have done something. He would have just sat on his hands. He would have gone out to the golf course. He would have, like the news reporter said, he would have demanded the electricity be turned back on within a certain amount of time, or we would be going in. Remember what he did when our hostages were being held when he took office. Yeah. 1,500 US Airmen and their families are being held hostage, and this government is doing nothing. Nothing at all. So what is the significance of this, guys? Well, here's the thing. If these guys can't hold them off and the base is overtaken, the Turkish government does come in, and it does take over Incirlik Air Base in Turkey. The implications could possibly be that Erdogan has some sort of deal cut with Russia, and those hydrogen bombs that are being stored there, and the fighter jets and the whatever he said, B-52s, whatever, for delivering these bombs could be placed in the hands of Russia and Putin. Pretty big implications there, I would say. JJ, if you're still in the room, can you go onto your Skype? And where are you? I'm going to send you a link to come on in. I truly want JJ to come in and talk to us about this, as he can give us some sort of the military significance on this. JJ, are you still around, hon? You know what? I'm just going to call him. I'm just going to call JJ. Hold on a second.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, you feel like coming into a hangout?
I might be able to. I got a guy coming to install a backup generator for my house here in like 30 minutes.
Okay. Do you guys?
What time are you starting at?
I'm live right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Were you were in the chat room?
Yeah, for a second there, yeah.
Right.
I went back to the police scanner too, though.
Let me just quickly ask you, what are the implications should this base be overtaken by Turkey and those bombs handed over to Putin by Erdogan?
Well, I mean, that just shows we're not a superpower anymore. I mean, you know, what, you can just take our toys and give them away? But, I mean, I've been saying, you know, with all the hype they've been giving us RNC, there's something big happening around the world we got to watch for. I can't believe nobody is talking about that. Where, who is that indie guy is on the show talking?
Those were the reporters from True News.
Yeah, that's
They seem to be the only ones really covering this right now. You know, I mean, I haven't been able to find anything on mainstream media. I did see this yesterday in my news feed, but I couldn't. I don't even know why, but a friend of mine sent this to me this morning, and she was like, "You really need to take a look at this." And when I did, I was wow. What's that?
I can hop on right now until the guy gets here if you want.
That'd be great. Go ahead.
Do you want me to just click that link you said?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so that is a friend of mine who's going to come in the room, Timberwolf. He's ex-military. He's the guy that I go to when I want to talk about these things. And let's get see if you can in.
Hey.
Hey. Welcome. This is Timberwolf, everybody. Just turn off your camera, hon, so it saves bandwidth. We don't get all scratchy and everything here. So, okay, so yeah, this just, I mean, the fact that Obama's not even talking about this does not surprise me. It's the fact that the other news media is not picking up on this. Uh-oh. You still with me? Hello. Go on out and come back in. How about that? There you go. He's gonna go. He's gonna come back in. All right. So while we're waiting to get him in there, there you are.
Hey.
Hey, you. Go ahead and shut your camera off so we can save some bandwidth.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay, hon. Okay, so what is the fact that Obama's not talking about this is not surprising to me. It's the fact that the other mainstream media is not picking up on it. Do you think that this is possibly a psyop, or is this something that they want to keep quiet because of the implications? Is this just something that they don't think isn't? I mean, what do you think? What would possibly be the military reason for keeping this out of the news media?
I mean, I don't think Aragon, or however the hell you pronounce his name, wants to give him to Putin per se. I mean, if I was Putin, I don't think I'd want him. You know, I'd be like, I got enough of my own. But just the fact that we're in this, like you said, nobody's talking about this. The brief clip I saw on your live thing there, when I saw it, because I live in Cleveland, so I'm listening to the police scanners.
Okay.
The guy said Trump doesn't even know about this, and I'm shocked that I'm just hearing. I kind of figured, you know, when you bomb your own parliament, you know, that's been done a few times now. Something's afoot, and I was like, well, what do we have over there besides, you know, a bunch of actual soldiers? And that's one of our NATO nuclear posts. So
right.
I don't know. It's very intriguing that nobody's talking about this, and there's nothing going on at the RNC. It's not like anybody's throwing rocks at cops right now. And you know.
Yeah. I know.
You can't have loose nukes.
Yeah, it's not like the fact that they're too busy covering the RNC to cover this. You know, I mean, this is exactly. I see exactly where you're going with that. You know, my fear is that possibly these bombs or this ammunition or these weapons. Hold on a second. I got somebody keeps calling me. I'm doing the show. If they could end up possibly in the hands of ISIS.
Well, and that's what it seems like.
Yeah.
The ultimate end goal is. For some reason, nobody likes Syria. So, I mean, the reports today are horrible, like what we're doing there and how many civilians we kill. Of course, you know, we're droning the shit out of them. So,
yeah, exactly. So, okay, let me ask you this. I guess my question is, how long do you think these military airmen can hold off should Turkey decide to take over completely?
I mean, I'm pretty sure contingency for Broken Arrow plan is that they gotta basically destroy them. So that's a fucking broken arrow right there. And I mean, you know,
right? Should the base?
I don't know how many are there, but one is too many.
Right, but at this moment, it seems like that they've just shut off the electricity, and they haven't really taken over the base. They're just being held. I mean, and you know, True News is saying they're being held hostage, but basically they're not. It's not really a hostage situation. It's more like a under siege kind of situation.
Yeah. And so, is it military or is it just like the locals?
I believe this is on a military level. This is on a country, you know, this is coming from the high ups.
You know, if it was just some locals running around with their, you know, vests on, throwing rocks at the gate, they could stand up indefinitely, you know?
Well, yeah, exactly. You know, but yeah, I mean, so this would definitely, if the building itself were breached, I mean, then definitely would have a Broken Arrow situation. And, you know, I you know, like the news reporter said it from my first thought was another Benghazi situation.
Yeah. Well, you know, if that happens, then we're in some trouble. I don't know. If they really want World War III, I guess this is how they'll start it.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. This is
Because-
exactly. I mean,
Yeah, this is kind of scary because, like, I don't trust those people.
well, no. I mean, I don't even trust. I mean, I don't trust anybody. I don't trust our own government. You
Yeah,
know,
I mean, he could be the one. He could be the one selling. I mean, look, he's not even staying here when he's done with being president. He's going to Dubai or Abu Dhabi or some shit.
No, yeah, yeah. He's bought a place in Dubai.
Yeah, he's
you know?
gone. So that says something, right? Like he's leaving right after he does this.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I was talking to my wife maybe a week ago before the RNC, and I was like, we got to pay attention. If Barack leaves the country, something's going to happen. If, you know, and I can't. That's scary that, you know, right before this all starts, that comes out that there was a failed coup, and I was like, we have nukes there, and we got a lot of like that. When I was in Iraq, that was one of our main supply points, and there was like talk back then that they were going to shut it down, and we were like, well, how do we get our bombs, bullets, and band-aids? Because most of our stuff flows through Turkey there. So,
Wow.
you know, they kind of got us by the short hairs when it comes to like strategic positioning in the Middle East and things like that, being an ally with us, you know. So,
Yeah.
You know.
Well, apparently, I mean, this is something that why have they done? You know, if people are wondering why this is taking place and why they've done it, apparently, Turkey believes that there is a political opponent who resides right now in Pennsylvania that the president of Turkey claims that he was the one that ordered and organized the failed coup attempt last Friday.
What, like one of the senators?
I don't know who this guy is.
In Pennsylvania?
He's living in Pennsylvania right now.
The Amish Mafia coming after the Turk? Holy God. Oh, my wife just said Punxsutawney Phil. We could roll all three of those into a really good like TLC sitcom.
I'm sorry. I wasn't expecting that, the whole the Amish Mafia. That's pretty funny. But yeah, I mean.
This is starting to sound like a Benghazi. There's a guy in Pennsylvania pissing off the Turk.
There's some guy in Pennsylvania that organized and that he organized and ordered this coup over the Turkish president. I mean,
I didn't know George Soros had a house in Pennsylvania.
That's almost as believable as Osama bin Laden organizing it from a cave in Afghanistan.
Yeah, right? Like Wi-Fi signal in a cave. Have you been in my basement lately?
I know, right? I have to do the UHF thing up in my bedroom, for crying out loud, you know. The UHF.
We can't even send text messages in the States. And this dude's, Yeah,
exactly. So, I mean, here's the thing is, you know, I mean, we're going to watch this. We're going to watch this story unfold. I'm going to keep a close eye on it as best as I can.
That's the craziest news I've heard all day. Or all week. I'm not going to lie. Like, you know, I was waiting for another shooting of sorts this week, but I'm still planning on something big happening here. It's been too quiet, but
it has been very, very, very quiet.
Eerily quiet, you know.
Right. And as Veritas says, Veritas 13 Foxes in the chat room, he says that these guys that are being held there are not they're not frontline soldiers.
No, they're not. No, but if they have nukes there, they'll probably have Marines and SEALs with them. Yeah. So they're not like frontline Marines, but they're like really well trained guys.
Right.
And I mean, yeah, if I was there and I knew that that's what was going on and there was like a quote unquote breach, I'm pretty sure like we're supposed to like, you know, you got a bunch of C4, you strap them shits full of it and break them in half. Because like you're not going to set the charge off. You know, like they're very complicated. People think it's like a super simple thing. It's just a big ass bomb. No, they're really like timing and shit like that has to be precise. Otherwise, you just get a massive dirty bomb.
But here's the thing: is they've got the B bombers to actually, you know, the delivery. They have the delivery. They not only have the bombs, but they have the delivery aspect of it too. Yeah. I'm gonna pull up something Pat just sent to me. Pat just sent.
So why don't they just leave then? Do they got like scuds pointed at them? They don't. I mean, any good pilot can just be like, oh, I'm doing about 350 pull up now. We're gonna take off. You know.
Yeah, I mean that's I know exactly what you're talking about.
Are they going to shoot down one of our stealth bombers?
They're on an air base, right? They're on an air base with bombers and huge planes. They can fit 1,500 people on one of those B bombers or whatever, B-52s or B whatever they are now. What are they now?
Well, they have all kinds of stuff in Turkey. There, C-130s, and that. Like I said, that's one of our logistics transport hubs.
Yeah, I'm sure there's more to this story. Like I said, I mean, this is just, I'm getting this from one or two sources, and
and it's the middle of the night there, correct?
Yeah, right now it's the middle of the night.
Yeah, it's like 1 a.m. over there or something.
Yeah. So this is what Pat just sent me. Hold on a second, it's got to take a second to pull up. Turkey
from
president.
From the Poconos. Get out of Dodge. This is a joke.
Turkey president wants U.S. to extradite exiled Poconos cleric.
He's not even Muslim. He's like an old Italian, like pastrami guy.
He's supposedly an Ayman. He's an Ayman from the Poconos, and Turkey's president demands the U.S. hand him over immediately. He's blaming the nation's bloody coup attempt on Fatullah Golem, a dissident cleric living in exile in a small community 70 miles from New York City.
My golly. You can't make
this is the man.
You can't even make this up.
No, you can't make this shit up if I tried. I mean, but like I said, I'm going to be watching this very closely. I'm going to be try pulling other sources. I'm going to try to get, some sort of make some sort of sense to all of this at the moment. There are and here's another thing is that we're having this is why we're having a hard time getting news coming out of Turkey, is because the president of Turkey, after the coup on Friday, has shut down all social media coming out of that country.
They're kind of doing that here right now. We're noticing, like, we're having really hard time finding feeds from downtown, and it's like you find one that lasts for 2 minutes and it's gone, and it's like we said, like from a cave in Afghanistan in 2001, like it's 2020 almost, and I can't even send a frickin' text message from downtown.
Exactly. Yeah, I've been, like I said, having, it's weird because, there's supposedly all these people downtown reporting, yet I can't get a news feed only from inside of the convention. It's kind of weird.
Exactly, from only inside the convention. So, so to not make light of the situation, but to be somewhat satirical, Turkey is holding hostage a bunch of Americans with nukes and bombers for some old dude living in the Poconos who maybe has 5 years to live.
That about sums it up.
What a situation we found ourselves in, eh?
Yeah, I think you pretty much you pretty much summed it up in that sentence. Yeah.
It just gets better by the day, I'm telling you. And we got how many more months left with this dude?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, and he's off golfing. So but I think we need to keep a close eye on the meeting coming up with Erdogan and Putin. I think we need to keep a close eye on.
Well, does anyone know what came out of that last Putin phone call with Obama? And everybody's like, "Oh, we're going to war." What were they talking about? Does anybody know?
No.
How do we know it wasn't about this?
We only know what we're told. I mean,
but you know what I mean? That they just talked as well. And like I said, if I was Putin, and I think Putin thinks like a real man, he'd be like, "Man, I got too many of them shits on my hands already to deal with. I don't want those." Yeah. Like just moving them through frickin' Russia is a problem, especially depending on how many there are. You know what I mean? If we're talking a dozen, now we got a huge issue. Putin doesn't want to deal with that. I can assure you, he's smarter than that.
Right.
So and like I said, look at who's leaving as soon as his time is up and where he's going to, and all the actors in this little play now.
Yeah, he's not retiring to Boca Raton, guys.
He's not going to the Poconos. Yeah.
He's not going to the Poconos, exactly. He's going to Dubai. And by the way, Dubai does not have extradition treaty with the U.S., so I just want to put that out there too.
Well, Dubai is also like one of the most like radically strict Islamic places
Oh,
you can
absolutely it
live.
is. Oh, it is. It is. It is very, very strict.
They sell slaves on Facebook up in there.
Craigslist. They sell slaves on Craigslist.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And we're the bad people.
I know, and we're the bad ones. I just want to remind everybody, you know, this is a breaking news story. Limited information coming out of Turkey because of they've got social media and a news blackout coming out of that country. Has been since the military coup on Friday. You know, this is what we know right now. We have unconfirmed, and I'm going to say unconfirmed because I truly am trying to get as much information on this as I can. 1,500 US Airmen are being held basically hostage right now at the Incirlik Air Force Base in Turkey. Power has been cut to the base, or the section of the base where I guess they're being held up. There's talk of only a week's worth of food left in the facility. They have, like I said, they have no electricity. They're kicking out the windows, breaking the windows, opening the windows to try to get some sort of relief from the heat. We do know that the base does contain in the underground bunkers supposedly weapons of mass destruction, hydrogen bombs. They do have a numerous number of B-52s, bombers. So, the potential, the possibility, it's unknown. Erdogan, we don't know if he's made a deal with Putin. We don't know anything at this time other than, what I reported in the video that I showed you guys. But I'm going to be keeping a close eye on this throughout the day. If anything else breaks, I will bring it to you guys. If you guys find any information on it, and you can send that to me, you can send that to turnfortruth@gmail.com. That is my email address. I will take a look at it and try to see if it's anything new. I will put it out there. If not, this is just something that we need to be aware of and follow. And you know what? Here's the thing, guys. Call up your local news channels. Call up your ABC affiliates, your CBS affiliates, your NBC affiliates, and ask them why they're not covering this. I mean, I think I'm going to do that when I get off the show today. I'm going to call my affiliates here in Chicago and ask them exactly, how come you guys aren't covering this? Why aren't we seeing this on
they're going to give you? You know what they're going to say? Because the Trump train's chugging around.
Because the Trump train's on, yeah. So, I'm going to, I also want to let you guys know that we're at DEFCON 4 as a national level. We were at DEFCON 3 a couple weeks ago. They lowered it, or they upped it, whatever, to DEFCON 4, which means that we are condition blue. Currently, no immediate nuclear threats against the U.S. But however, there are events occurring in the world theater which requires closer monitoring. That is the official DEFCON status that we're at right now. So, hey, if they're not going to worry about it, I don't think we should worry about it, right? I mean,
sure.
In the words of Hillary Clinton, what does it matter? Right? No.
Say anymore. I'm not trying to make a joke of it, but it's just it's so much.
I'm not trying to make
every day it's just so much. It's like, when is it just gonna be?
It is. Exactly.
They just hurry up and finish so we can just get it over with.
Right. The reason why I'm going to keep a close eye on this is because, like I said, and like they said in the video, I just keep hearing over and over in the back of that little voice in the back of my head going, Benghazi, 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 Benghazi. So,
well, yeah.
But, all right, guys, I want to thank you for joining me. I always love your opinion when it comes to stuff like this. You're my go-to guy when it comes to this. And
if they got any wits about them, if they really are kicking out, if it's that bad and they're like really, if they do share a base and the one side's on and one side's off, like 1,500 American. I mean, hopefully they're not all Air Force, and I don't want to sound rude, but they're kind of not like the best at close quarters combat type deals. So hopefully they do have some like actual like infantry there to like protect those things, and they know that like if it's time to like cause an international incident and blow them things and, you know, go to the great land of Valhalla, then it's time. But I think this is probably a good excuse for them to say, oh, we lost a couple, and then a month later they go off.
Yeah, well, we don't want to forget that we have those 3 nuclear bombs that disappeared in October 2013 either. So,
yeah,
you know, that nobody talks about those either, you know.
No.
So Clovis is going to be covering this news story. She's going to be also picking up on it. Me and her are probably going to be working together to try to see if either one of us can get some information. Like I said, if anybody out there has any further information, you can email me at turnfortruth@gmail.com. She's also going to be live on the air, I believe, at 4 o'clock today. I think 4 o'clock Central Time. She's going to be covering the convention again today. I believe Trump is taking the podium. And if I also have gotten permission from a good friend of mine, to live stream off or to simulcast off of his live stream. He is live there in Cleveland. Derek Bowes is going to let me do that. I talked with him last night. I just remember that. That's what happens when I go to sleep. I forget things. I get everything set up. I go to sleep and then just like frazzle when I get up. So I'm going to actually pass that over over to Clovis to see if she wants to live stream him. I have his channel, and I'll send her the permission that I got. I'll send it over to her. And so we can continue this live coverage. Like I said, if anything else breaks on this, I will definitely break in, whether it be on her show or I'll go live. I don't like to go live when somebody else's because it kind of defeats the purpose because, you know, it takes away from their show. But we're going to be keeping a close eye on this. I want to thank everybody in the chat room. As always, I want to thank you, Timberwolf, for joining me.
Thank you.
Like I said, I will be going on should anything take place or we find out anything new on this. So until next time, guys, keep vigilant. You know, keep an eye out on what's going on because you know this could possibly erupt into something a lot bigger than we're ready for. So, all right, we will talk with you all next time. God bless you all. Bye bye.